back on Centennial Conference 2016 kickoff. I'm joined by Nick Palladino, quarterback of Muhlenberg, and Coach Mike Donnelly, his 20th season at the helm of the Mules. Thank you guys for taking a few moments
to see you, Brian.
Sit down and have a little chat. Last season, you guys finished 8-3, tied for second in the Centennial Conference. 17 returning starters this year. That's got to be exciting, knowing you got a lot of guys coming back.
Yeah, it is exciting. But at the same time, if you look at all the other, this is a year in the league where it seems like everybody's got people back. Even Gettysburg, that only has a few, they have other kids in the wings that played a lot. So it's a typical year in the Centennial Conference. It's going to be tremendous competition, and having 17 starters, 16 starters, 15 starters back is really important. But everybody else will be, just in as we said off camera, I'm not really sure it makes much of a difference.
So heading into this year, expectations got to be pretty high. I know you picked up a handful of first place votes. Teams or SIDs and coaches seem to think that you guys have a shot to get one of these here.
I think both Nick and I will take that as a compliment that people think highly of our program, but it's based on what's happened in the past and what we did last year, which has nothing to do with this year. So I think we're optimistic that we have a lot of good players that have worked extremely hard. We have a lot of work to do to get ready for that first game, and we're starting again at zero, and that's been our point for a long time, to try to, put what happened last year behind us. It doesn't matter, and try to start over again in 2016. And at the end of the season, we'll look back and answer that question you just asked me.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, knowing full well that he's sitting right next to you. But where's your quarterback rank in terms of guys that you've had come through your program through 20 seasons?
Well, he's pretty good, and statistically, he's number one. I think that we've talked, and I've said to him, he's extremely competitive and he's extremely smart. And the rest of it falls into place. And I think a quarterback has to be a guy that gets people to line up behind him and want to play behind him, and they have trust in him. And he's got that. And we've had other quarterbacks. We've been very fortunate that have had it. And to be one of the better quarterbacks or the best quarterback at Muhlenberg College over the last 20 years is a compliment in and of itself. But Nick's an outstanding player in every way.
So we talked a little bit about your offense. Defensively, you guys have allowed fewer than 300 yards and less than 20 points per game on average. Every game in the regular season, going back to 2001, obviously, there's been a little bit up and down.
Sure.
That's consistent.
Yeah, that is pretty consistent.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think we have a good system defensively, and our kids know the system because we've been doing the same thing for years. And then there's a tradition. It's an established tradition of excellence, and our kids come to play. We were really proud of our kids last year. We only brought back a few starters. We had a lot of kids, a lot of questions that a lot of kids who hadn't played, a lot of question marks, and the kids stepped up big. Now we'll see if these a little bit older kids can continue that. But we've been very, very fortunate, and I can't tell you how proud I am of our kids on all three phases, how hard they play and how prideful they are in what they do at Muhlenberg. But our defense, it is a scary good statistic and something we're very, very proud of.
Any guys that maybe have flown a little bit under the radar in the past on the defensive side of the ball that we should be keeping an eye out for on Saturdays this year?
Well, we've got a couple of guys that at the linebacker level, which is where we have some questions, young guys that we think are ready to play. Matt Muselli, a guy that's just working really, really hard, is a guy that we think can step up. We've got to find an inside linebacker. Tyler Smith, a rising senior, is a guy that just went crazy on kick game for us last year. But they're all questions that have to be answered, and it's not about how they work in the weight room, but what they do within our scheme and how well they can, do the things we're asking them to do. And I think we've got a couple of young corners that are going to compete really heavily for a spot vacated by a four-year starter. So we'll see what happens, but Nate Corville is a guy that came out of spring looking really, really good. Michael Blank is another corner, a young corner that could surprise people. And so I hope they listen to this, and I hope they're ready to go when they come in on August 12th.
A little bit of extra motivation.
Absolutely. I hope you guys were paying attention.
So, Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you. I put your coach on the spot, but now it goes back over to you. What's it like to play for this guy?
For Coach Donnelly, I mean, it's great. Every day is something new, and he's always cracking jokes and whatnot, and keeping it light, in the meeting room, on the field, in the weight room. But like he said, it's all about the scheme and how he's had the success of players buying into his program and everything, which obviously attributes to the win column. So it's been a fantastic 3 years so far, and I'm very excited for my senior campaign.
Yeah, heading back to Allentown for your senior year. You were from Allentown, New Jersey.
I was.
There's got to be more than just the name as to why you decided to come play for Muhlenberg. If you were trying to convince a future recruit or someone who might be considering playing for the Mules to come do that, what would you say to them?
I think it's kind of the brotherhood on the team that we formed, and the companionships that we have with the coaches, the teachers on campus, and the staff in general is just great there. And they were very welcoming, and the hospitality was great when you go up and visit and everything. So it just felt like a place that you could really call home for the next 4 years, and that's what it turned out to be. It was great. It was a great decision, and obviously very happy with it.
You're talking a lot about the team element of the game. Take a moment just to talk about what you were able to accomplish last year, first team All-Centennial Conference quarterback. Knowing that that's the bar that's been set, you set it for yourself, what are your expectations going into this year? How do you take a step forward knowing that you really had a very strong junior season?
Yeah, and this is one of the things that we talked about, with some of the younger classmen and incoming guys this year, and Coach Donnelly just touched on it. But through my first 3 years here, every season's different. And, you could look back on last season and try and draw from some things and talk about experience and all that. But, every year is different. And we're just going to go into this one like we do every year, take it one game at a time and let the chips fall where they may. But as far as that, you try not to look into that stuff too much because then it's in the back of your head. But, I'm obviously excited to be honored with that and, try and repeat it, obviously.
Now, in terms of going a little bit introspective here, how have you viewed your progression as both a player and a leader in your time with the Mules?
Good. I mean, it's definitely been an awesome ride, and I've learned a lot, And I think as I'm now becoming a senior and I'm starting to hear those whispers of the seniors last year say, cherish it, cherish it, cherish it, I'm starting to really understand what that means. And the lessons that you learn outside of the game, in life is what's, going to hold on most, so.
You guys start off week 1 at Wilkes. That's a September 2nd game.
Friday night.
Under the lights, 7 p.m. So looking forward to that. You guys about ready to get going for camp?
Absolutely.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
we're ready to go.
Best of luck this season, and thanks
Brian.
for taking a few moments to sit down and chat.